Looks like we're heading toward the center of the base.
That egghead sure loves mechanical things, doesn't he? I'll bet he has 1 or 2 spaceships lying around here somewhere.
The door's locked. We need a key to get in there.
No problem. We can find it. Right, Knuckles?
What? Why do I have to find the key?
We're counting on you, buddy. The world's greatest treasure hunter.
I really do love the fact that Knuckles wants nothing to do with this current situation. He's just here due to moral obligation, I think. He doesn't want to go into space. He doesn't want to save the world. All he wants is to find Master Emerald pieces. Hello, everybody. It's me, your good friend Sparky, and welcome back to the Sonic Adventure 2 Chronological Let's Play. We are here in the third part of the raiding Eggman's base saga of the game, trying to find a way into space and aboard the Space Colony Ark so we can save the world from the Eclipse Cannon. And it's time to explore the Death Chamber with Knuckles, which is, in my opinion, probably his worst level. It does have something neat for us though, the Hammer Gloves. Increases your punch attack power. Now break iron containers with just a punch. So it's Knuckles' upgrade that allows him to break the metal containers scattered around, which is pretty much required to get anywhere in this level. And, yeah, Death Chamber. The hourglass switches from Sonic's Pyramid Cave level return here, which you constantly have to punch and get them to trigger so you can make your way through the level and through certain openings. And yeah, this level's bad. It's just kind of bad. It's basically a larger version of the level Rouge went through earlier when she had to deal with the security robot flying around and find keys to get into Eggman's base. Thankfully, there are no security robots here this time, but this level makes up for it just from the sheer confusion that can occur when trying to navigate around. There's a lot of walls you have to dig through, and there's a lot of different paths to take, and there's a much larger sort of central area in addition to the 3 different colored quadrants that you explore this time around. And it can just be a really bad time trying to make your way around this place. And I will be perfectly blunt, this level took me about 14 minutes to complete, I think. Just trying to find all the hourglass switches, just trying to find out which way the walls you dig through go. It's just was problematic to do this level, and it's always been problematic for me to do this level. And yeah, it took a while. It definitely took a very long time. Thankfully, I'm not a sadist, and I'm not going to make you watch the entire thing. This particular level and the treasure hunting levels after that, they are much longer and much bigger. So there are certain parts where the footage is going to cut and kind of skip ahead, because I don't want to torture you with minutes and minutes of me just wandering around accomplishing nothing. Because even just trying to find the first emerald piece this time around, it took a little while. It definitely did. It's actually a good time to bring up something I did not bring up until this point, which is the hint monitors that are floating around these treasure hunting levels. Basically, you go to a hint monitor, and you can do up to 3 of them, talk to up to 3 of them, to get 3 different hints as to where your next emerald piece is. And I tend to try not to use them, because using them reduces your score, and then you don't get a good rank. But also, taking forever to find the emerald pieces, or keys in this case, also reduces your score. So sometimes it's better just to use them, but I stubbornly did not want to. At least at first, once I got down to the last key here, I definitely did use the hint monitors. So, yeah, they're there if you need them, and for bigger levels like this, they're usually a pretty good idea, unless you're absolutely going for A ranks and you need a good score because of that. And finally, we've located the first key about 4.5 minutes into the stage, and I really had trouble finding it. It's right here, around this location somewhere. I thought maybe it was on the statue, I thought maybe it was buried in the floor or on the wall somewhere. But yeah, it took me a little while to find the actual location. I got attacked by a couple ghosts in the meantime, it's fine. It happens. The key, in reality, is right in this corner. And just, I felt pretty embarrassed about that, honestly. So yeah, we're gonna fast forward a bit ahead here. We've gotten a pretty good tour of the level at this point, honestly. And we are going to now probably locate the second key by skipping ahead here a bit. We are at 7.5 minutes into the stage. We've definitely been in this location before. And this is where, like, the faults of the way the Emerald Radar works in this game really start to rear their ugly head. Because if this were, like, the first Sonic adventure, I definitely would have picked up on this particular key by this point. In fact, I would have picked up on the third one, too. I would have been able to find them and locate them, no problem, if the other Emerald Radar bits on the bottom of the screen down there were active. But they're not. So, with these big confusing levels, you can end up walking right by the Emerald piece or key or whatever you're searching for over and over again and never know it. And you get to this situation where you're in a stage for upwards of 7, 8, maybe even like 10 minutes, which this level definitely was. But we're skipping ahead again here to the almost 14-minute mark, which, yeah, this level was bad. It definitely went badly. And the last key is in this little tiny room where the Chow crate was. And there you go. If the Emerald Radar worked like the way it did in Sonic Adventure 1, I would have found that ages ago at this point. But unfortunately, it doesn't. Surprisingly, I still got a D rank, which I'm very shocked at.
Huh? Who's there? What the... A ghost?
And that leads us into our next boss fight with Knuckles. King Boom Boo. Definitely one of the most unique bosses in the game, and definitely one that requires a lot of kind of finesse and strategy in order to be able to fight him properly. You've got to stay ahead of him while he's chasing you, but if you get too far ahead, he just turns around and attacks you instead. So it's all about, like, managing your speed and the angle you're running, and it's definitely a fight that takes a lot of concentration. But once he starts attacking you with a big flamethrower attack he does, he stops in place, and that gives you the opportunity to attack the ghost with the hourglass that's traveling around behind him. That opens up the sunlight and lets you actually land a hit on him. After he goes into the ground, of course. As the fight goes on, he starts to climb up the walls and stuff too. You just gotta dig him out and then run after him and smack him as many times as you can. If you're fast enough, you can actually get 3 hits on him in one pass. I've done it before, but it's really tight timing as to actually being able to do it. In fact, I think I almost landed a 3rd hit just then. But usually, it takes, if you're really quick about it, you can get him done in 2 passes. So since you only have to hit him 4 times, you don't actually have to get him 3 times in one pass. As long as you get 2 hits in before the gate up top closes and he becomes extra powerful again, you're usually in pretty good shape. And see, there I was a little too quick in trying to go around and attack him, and he ended up switching around and going back after me instead. It's definitely a really interesting boss fight, and one that honestly I like a lot. It's unique. It's not a giant Eggman mech, it's not some kind of monster he's summoned. It's a ghost. You're fighting a big ghost.
That was pretty rough.
We did it! Let's go, Amy!
Yeah! You little thieves! Did you really think you could get out of here alive?
Come and get some, Eggman! Just leave it to me!
This time, where's the Chaos Emerald? I call on you to destroy these pests! Come off, my servant!
So, I should probably say this now, there's no second act in this video. We're not going into a second stage because we're dealing with a marathon of boss fights at this point. The Egg Golem Fight is also a fairly unique battle. Sonic has to get around back and climb up the back of the robot to attack the control device on top of the Golem's head, all while avoiding being smashed and falling into the death sand below, which thankfully this time around is not instant death sand. As we can see here, we actually can escape before we sink and we lose life. Yeah, this is boss fight number 2. This takes place immediately after the King Boom Boo fight. So, it's definitely interesting when the game switches it up and makes you do a double boss fight back to back. Or you switch characters between boss fights and levels and stuff. I like it when you do that. It's not like the super straightforward Sonic formula of go to stage, fight a boss, go into stage, fight a boss. It mixes things up and makes things definitely interesting and unique. The first Sonic adventure was a lot like that too. But once you go into Sonic Heroes, it starts to become a little more formulaic, going back to the sort of pattern of stage and boss. But then Shadow the Hedgehog kind of throws that back out for a little while, so, you know. But yeah, it's just definitely another aspect of this game that I like a lot. It should be noted that as the Egg Golem pounds these platforms, they gradually get lower and lower. So you can hide on the lower platforms in order to avoid certain attacks. That being said, I believe if he hits them too many times, they do eventually break apart and fall down. I can't say that absolutely for certain, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But anyway, one more quick hit, and we are done fighting the Egg Golem.
Nice try, Rocky.
Clever, Sonic, calling a rock guy Rocky.
When Sonic struck his head, he must have broken the restraining mechanism. What a piece of junk!
I'm just living by my own opinion.
No!
And to the shock of no one, the giant thing Dr. Eggman is trying to control ends up turning on him. Now it's time for our third boss fight of the video, with Dr. Eggman fighting the Egg Golem instead of Sonic. The fight takes on a completely different format here, where it's mostly just about peppering the Egg Golem with shots while you're avoiding its attacks. Eventually you break open the panels on the front, or like the cracked parts on front, rather. They're not really panels. And you lock onto those with your missile attacks, your lock-on shots. And avoid getting headbutted, by the way. That's probably not a good idea. Yeah, that definitely ends up hurting. Eventually, though, you knock away all the parts, and you can target all of the weak spots, and Eggman's version of the Egg Golem fight actually goes by pretty quickly. And now, it's the moment you all been waiting for. It's time to go into space.
Green light for launch. Primary engine ignition on. Beginning liftoff countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shuttle liftoff.
So this is the space colony where Eggman is hiding. What the?
Is everyone all right? We should be landing soon.
The hatch doors are
Don't
open.
sweat it, Knuckles. The only thing in the cargo bay are those
What do you
Master
mean, don't
Emeralds.
sweat it?
Right?
Land the
Knock
shuttle
it
and
off,
let me
Knuckles.
out.
We're gonna crash this thing if you keep that up. Oh no! Don't touch that lever! Whoa!
So before we get into this video's bonus content, I think it's important to state that this part of the project is cursed. Death Chamber took forever, there's an audio error on the hero side of this cutscene, and there's a continuity error on the dark side. Knuckles has a piece of equipment on that he shouldn't have yet because I recorded things out of order, so please try to ignore that. Just try to, a little bit. The time card from the beginning of the video is actually right before the Eggman cutscene here. And there's differences between when lines are delivered and when music cues start, depending on what side you're playing on.
We did it! Let's go, Amy! Yeah!
You little thieves. Did you really think you could get out of here alive?
Come and get some, Eggman!
We did it! Let's go, Amy! Yeah!
You little thieves. Did you really think you could get out of here alive?
Come and get some, Eggman!
Sonic!
Other than that, though, this cutscene proceeds and looks pretty much the same between the two versions, up to a certain point. Eggman's version of the cutscene is actually much longer than Sonic's, because in Sonic's version of the cutscene, it'll cut as soon as the Egg Golem pops up here and go right into the Egg Golem boss fight itself. Eggman's version of the cutscene goes on much longer to show Sonic leaping up and attacking the Egg Golem, which then triggers Eggman's version of the boss fight. With a mighty leap and his confusing battle cry of "Teria!" we get to see the Egg Golem spin out of control in only one blow, which makes it seem like much less of a threat in this version of the fight.
When Sonic struck his head, he must have broken the restraining mechanism. What a piece of junk!
And then it promptly attacks Eggman because, of course. On the opposite side of things, the Space Shuttle launch cutscene actually goes on much longer on Sonic's side of things, the hero side of the story. We don't actually get to see our heroes go up into space and get hit by the meteor on the dark side of things. We only see the initial launch as they're exiting the atmosphere, I suppose. And there's no real cutscene after this point for the dark side and Eggman's side of the story here, so I guess it's appropriate to call it there for now. This video's been a bit of a long one, and it seems like that's going to be a theme for the later videos of this project, so buckle up, there's a lot more to come. Thank you very much for watching the Sonic Adventure 2 Chronological Let's Play. This is your good friend Sparky signing off for now. I'll catch you later.
Game select.